This is the legendary four-wheel drift, a technique that is widely documented to be the fastest way around a corner. In this video I'm going to tell you all you need to know about the four-wheel drift, and at the end I'll be showing you exactly how to do it. So make sure you stay tuned, you won't want to miss out on this one. So what is a four-wheel drift? A four-wheel drift essentially means that all four wheels are sliding, almost like oversteer and understeer at the same time. If you are using four-wheel drifting correctly, you shouldn't need to countersteer at all. If you've watched my slip angle technique video, all of this may sound familiar, but the difference between a four-wheel drift and the state of slip angle is that a four-wheel drift is produced when the tyres are over their limit of grip, while slip angle is produced on the very limit. It's a common misconception that you need an all-wheel drive car to do the four-wheel drift. In fact, the origins of the four-wheel drift come from neither touring or rally racing like many of the techniques we've covered in this series. The first recorded four-wheel drift was actually in Formula 1, or rather not Formula 1, because Formula 1 hadn't been invented yet. Picture this, the year is 1930 and drivers are lining up for the Grand Prix Championship. The cars are primitive, there's no seatbelts, millimetre thick tin can bodywork, and helmets hadn't been invented yet. It's just you, an 8-cylinder engine and 4 skinny cross-ply tyres. Sounds scary, right? Well, between the massive torque output of these cars and the almost non-existent brakes, it's not hard to imagine that these cars would almost never be well within the limits of grip. You've got to respect the absolute nut jobs that drove these things at their top speeds back in the day. Instead of driving around a track, these cars were in a consistent state of both understeer and oversteer, a la a four-wheel drift. So yes, the four-wheel drift has been around for a very long time. Even Fangio said it was the fastest way of cornering all the way back in the 50s. However, the reason these old school drivers slid more is that the optimum tyre grip was a lot lower. So with the otherworldly tyres in comparison we have today, is the four-wheel drift really still as good as it's hyped up to be? Let's find out. But before that, I want to give a shout out to RKGaming for doing the driving on this video. It wouldn't have been possible without him, as my sim rig is still broken, so go and check out his channel, link is in the description. In a four-wheel drift, where your front wheels are pointed is the direction you'll go. Therefore, keeping the accelerator on the floor is essential for the four-wheel drift, as you need to keep the front wheels spinning. With this in mind, you can imagine that the four-wheel drift is an extremely versatile technique. If there's ever a corner that you'll need to brake substantially for, mashing the throttle and four-wheel drifting around the turn is a surefire way to shave off those precious milliseconds. Once a driver has mastered the four-wheel drift, they can take corners at almost unbelievable speeds, much like we see in rally. This is what makes all-wheel drive cars so overpowered on the toge. You can really chuck them into corners and get out the other side unscathed, while also staying on the throttle the entire time. It actually becomes hard to crash at all once you get accustomed to the 4 spinning wheels, as they will pull you out of almost any sticky situation. So is the four-wheel drift actually useful today? Very much so. It is an invaluable skill to have in your driver toolbox, especially so if you love an all-wheel drive car. Make sure you carry on watching to learn how to do the four-wheel drift. But before I show you how to do it, let me take up to 10 seconds of this video to remind you to subscribe if you are enjoying the video so far. Only a tiny percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed, and it would mean a lot if you did. Thanks. Now, full disclosure, there isn't one method to do a four-wheel drift. In fact, you can use any drift initiation method you like. But it's more about what you do after the initiation that counts. So I'm going to show you some of my favourite initiations for the four-wheel drift and show you what you need to do afterwards to actually enter one. The first method to enter a four-wheel drift I'll be covering today is trail braking. Trail braking is a great way of entering a four-wheel drift, as it is a much safer way of doing so. Instead of throwing the car in at full speed, it gives you an opportunity to enter the corner at whichever speed you like. So the braking drift is done by lightly applying brake pressure just before you enter the corner. When you brake, the weight of the car shifts to the front axle. As you would have seen in my inertia drift tutorial, this means the rear tyres have significantly less grip, and if you turn into the corner while the weight is on the front, the rear will step out and enter a slide. After you turn in, you should wait until the front tyres are lined up with the exit of the corner. Once your tyres are pointing towards the exit, you'll then need to step on the throttle and let Jesus take the wheel. No, but seriously, if you need to counter steer at this point, you're doing it wrong. So for trail braking, we lightly apply pressure to the brake, turn into the corner, slowly let off the brake, wait for front tyres to line up with the exit of the corner, and step on the throttle to enter a 4-wheel drift. Simple, right? Make sure you drop a like on this video if you're enjoying so far, and let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway, on to the next technique. The next method I'll be teaching you today is weight transfer. For this method, you need to imagine your car is a pendulum. If you swing your car, or the pendulum, one way, it will always swing back with equal or less force. Therefore, if you swing your car one way than the other, there will likely be a total loss of grip when it swings back. So with this in mind, if you are approaching a corner and swiftly turn towards the outside of the corner, then sharply turn towards the inside, your car will lose traction and your front tyres should be pointing towards the inner radius of the corner. I'm sure you'll know what you need to do next. Yep, step on the throttle and hold on for dear life. The weight transfer method is one of my personal favourites, as it only requires a quick steering input and can be used to link multiple corners together. The pendulum always swings back with an equal force. Therefore, on the exit of a corner, you can then swing the pendulum, or the car, in the opposite direction to enter another 4-wheel drift into the next corner, so on and so forth. I hope that makes sense. So to recap, for a weight transfer 4-wheel drift, we approach the corner and feint the steering wheel towards the outside of the corner. We then jerk the wheel towards the inside to transfer the weight and brake traction. Then again, you need to wait until your front tyres are lined up to the exit of the corner and step on the throttle. Remember, no counter steering. So those were my favourite drift initiations for the 4-wheel drift, and remember, you can use whichever initiation you like. Just mix and match it with lining the front tyres up with the exit of the corner and then stepping on the throttle. It's as easy as that. If you did find this video helpful, make sure you drop a like, let me know what you thought in the comments, and hit that subscribe button if you're new around here for more Assetto Corsa Touge content. Once again, a big shout out to RKGaming for making this video possible, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.